Hi, I'm Walter Kasmir, your favorite CSA author and host of Critical Conversations about Aging in America. All right, Walt Kasmir back, your favorite certified senior advisor. Today we're resuming a segment on from last week. Last week I mentioned how important it is to engage in self-care when you are a caregiver, because it is very taxing and many people do suffer higher percentage rates of depression and heart disease, cancers, various diseases that are directly related to the increased stress load of being a caregiver. So today I wanted to delve in a little bit more on, after you go to the doctor, getting a baseline set of labs and a physical exam to find out exactly where you stand. And I wanted to look at a lab report and give you a little bit more insight on what the doctor is really talking about and give you enough information to have an intelligent, critical conversation about your health with your healthcare provider. So let's dive into this lab report. This is actually my lab report. I got it back from the time that I went to the doctor in the last film. So let's dive in and look at some lab results here. Okay, so at the top, this is pretty much what most doctors are going to want to look at to get a view of how your body is functioning. So we have a lipid panel at the top. It measures our total cholesterol, our HDL cholesterol or healthy cholesterol, our triglycerides or fats, and our LDLs, our low density lipoproteins, or what we like to call the lethal cholesterols. Down here we have a comprehensive metabolic panel that consists of a few different tests and is mainly designed to let us know how the major organs are functioning. The first section here under comprehensive metabolic panel, we look at our fasting glucose, fasting reference interval. So mine was a 94. I fasted from about midnight until about 9 o'clock the next morning. Got into the office and drew my labs, and it was a 94. So that's pretty good. Your urea, nitrogen or bun, and your creatinine, these two tests together help evaluate the kidney functioning. And I'm glad to see that mine are about right down the middle, so that's good. And I am a African American, so you want your glumerical filtration rate to be greater than 60. This column over here is the reference range or the normal range. For me, my glomerular filtration rate is greater than 60. It's 94. So my kidneys are doing great. My electrolytes, potassium, sodium chloride, calcium, they're all doing well. My protein is just a little low. My doctor said don't be alarmed about it being that negligible below the norm, the low norm range, because there are procedural factors involved in the actual collecting and testing and the reference values. And I have given up meat. I haven't eaten meat since 2014. And as we go down the list, you can see that if you have an abnormal value, it's going to be highlighted and it's going to be in the column in the middle or to the side. And if we scroll down a little bit, AST and ALT and these others help us get a measure of liver function, the other organs in the gut, and my levels are all good. So I'm very happy about that. If they are elevated, usually there is a major problem or a problem developing. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, mine is about right in the middle there. People who have thyroid issues, this is a direct measure of the thyroid functioning, and it's going to be increased above this 4.5 if you're having hyperthyroidism, or it's going to be less than 0.4 if you're having hypothyroidism. Then the next section here is the CBC, or complete blood count. And in parentheses, you see it says differential with platelets, PLT. The first number here, that's your standard complete blood count. That has your white blood cells, your red blood cells, and your platelets. White blood cells, they help, they're the main part of your immune system, and they attack foreign invaders in the body, bacteria, viruses, etc. when you are attacked by illness. They kick up and go into action, and this number here will increase, and that's one of the ways where a doctor can tell if you have a infection going on. Your red blood cell count, they carry the oxygen, so you definitely want to have an adequate amount, not too many, definitely not too few. And then under that you have hemoglobin and hematocrit. Really, is one is measured in weight, the next one is measured in percentage, and that's really another measure of oxygen carrying capacity. If you have illnesses, they're definitely going to be affected by that. So my number 14.4 is looking about perfect for a male of my age. And down here we have platelet count. That helps you clot if you happen to be bleeding. It will help you stop bleeding. You ever wonder, well, why don't you just keep bleeding out? Well, these platelets are the main factor in helping you stop bleeding. And on the second page, this is a short report. This is the differential, or it actually gets more specific. These are different types of white blood cells, and all of mine are looking great. They're where they should be. And if these are elevated, it helps the doctor know what type of inflammatory process that you are experiencing. And last but not least, we have my testosterone level. The normal range from this lab, Quest Labs, is 250 to 1100, and I'm right about in the middle, 567. So for a guy my age, I'm not doing too badly. I am going to get back in the gym and work on some of these numbers. If you allow me to scroll back up for a moment, the LDL, this what we call lethal cholesterol, that's an easy way to remember it. The LDL carries fat away, or I should say back to the body, and the healthy or HDL cholesterol actually carries fat away from the body, and the liver and the big long process processes it and eliminates it out of the body. My number is 63, and the reference level here is greater than 40, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. My doctor sent me a note. She said, hey, your labs look great. one of the things I do want to point out is these are normal reference ranges for detecting disease. It isn't the optimal level. And what do I mean by that? I want to make reference to the Framingham Heart Study, one of the most comprehensive longitudinal studies on cardiovascular disease. They actually recommend a number lower than 171. As I mentioned, most doctors are going to be happy if your total cholesterol is less than 200. Mine is less than 200, and it's been elevated before. 4 or 5 years ago, all of my numbers looked bad. It wasn't good. I was overweight. My total cholesterol was over 250, 270, somewhere in that range. My healthy cholesterol was low. My lethal cholesterol was high. My triglycerides were high. I mean, every number, every metric, every biomarker indicated that I was not healthy. And I knew better, and that's the scary thing about it. Just having information doesn't do anything. You have to have an action plan to put this information to use. And it certainly doesn't help, it doesn't hurt to have a advisor that is experienced, that's knowledgeable, that has credentials, that can help guide you through not only your personal health, but help you manage the health of loved ones that you may be a guardian for or advocating for. So let's take a look at this next page as we just take a peek at the Framingham study, and we can get a little bit more specific. I can tell you what I'm talking about here. So in this section, right about in the middle here it says the Framingham point scores by age group and total cholesterol. And it has information that gets more specific, more granular, better metrics, if you will, if you like business buzzwords, to give us a better idea of where we stand. And what I was saying about being in the safe zone as far as not having diseases versus approaching optimal levels. So in my age range, age 50 to 59, your total cholesterol, they're recommending everybody to be less than 160, and you will have a 0% of risk factor in this category for disease or death within 10 years. As you can notice, this says 160, not 200. And so, in my opinion, the medical community just knew that the public basically wouldn't be able to meet up to that standard. But the Framingham study on heart health has shown through longitudinal studies that people that have a total cholesterol of less than 160 across age ranges have almost zero risk of heart disease if their total cholesterol is less than 160. So just because your numbers may be in the normal range, you really have to take it in consideration what the trends are, and if you're close to the lower range or the higher range, and what direction that is going, and how is your health in general. Okay, so these are some things that you really need to have some health literacy about, and a certified senior advisor can help you with these things. There's all types of other information in here. I'll tell you what, this is what we need to do. If you want me to delve into more topics in more detail, cover things a little bit more thoroughly, cover additional topics, because this is just the tip of the iceberg of knowing enough to have a critical conversation with your doctor, or if you're advocating for a loved one. There are other biomarkers that measure stress, aldosterone, homocysteine, We can talk about a lot of those things if that's something that you're interested in. So leave comment sections, leave comments in the comment section below. Leave your questions, requests, and if I get enough people asking me about that, if I see interest, I will definitely address some of those issues. So in the comment section below, let me know. Give me some feedback. All right, people. I hope this has been interesting. I hope it's been informative. So until next time, as always, don't wait too late to have critical conversations about aging in America.